710 ESPN.
This is Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
This is Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
And when you heard the news today, when Ramona Shelburne told Sedano on the Max Kellerman show that Caruso could be gone.
I just want to sound the alarm, like you may need to prepare yourself to lose out Caruso today.
What? The Caruso?
I know.
You wondered, what does Allen Sliwa think of that? When you heard the news this afternoon on 710 that Dwight Howard was coming back to the Lakers, that Trevor Ariza was coming back to the Lakers, that Wayne Ellington was coming to the Lakers.
You thought, what does Sliwa think?
It's finally that time. It's time for Lakers Talk on 710 ESPN. All the reaction on how the Lakers did today with free agency and reloading the squad to get ready for Mission 18. The team around LeBron, AD, and Westbrook.
Hi, this is Frank Vogel of your Los Angeles Lakers. This is Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
Let's get to it. Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa right now.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on, Laker fans? Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me out there? I'm hoping that that's the case. Carl, are we good? Are we good? All right, we're good. We're good. Okay, Laker fans, here's the deal. I don't want to hear you guys complaining about whether you can hear me or not. Hearing me is not important. Just see my facial expressions and the way I move my hand, and that's the only thing that matters. A special edition NBA free agency. Obviously, we got a lot of conversation going on with the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, I'm going to go through this, and Carlo will watch on the audio part of this. Okay, so the Lakers obviously made some moves here, and this is a big day for the Los Angeles Lakers, and it's obviously all about trying to figure out what you could do with some of these pieces here after the Lakers put themselves in a position in NBA free agency where you got rid of KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and now you're kind of trying to figure out how you're going to fill up the rest of the roster with Russell Westbrook out. So let's start off with this piece here real quick. This is what the Los Angeles Lakers have done earlier today. And free agency started about 3 p.m. and you pretty much had 4 Laker moves. I felt like within an hour, 2 hours at tops or something along those lines. Dwight Howard back with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's number 1. Trevor Ariza signs a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, back with the Lakers. Dwight Howard, this is his 3rd time. Trevor Ariza, we all know, NBA championship with the Lakers back in 2009 against the Orlando Magic. Wayne Ellington back with the Lakers, another shooter for the Lakers, shot over 40% from the three-point line, was one of those shooters that a lot of people were targeting, I guess you could say, or at least Laker fans had him on his list of getting an opportunity to go bring in a player like that specifically because he's a good shooter, reliable shooter. And then the last one, Kent Bazemore, who took less money to be a part of the Lakers. I think he was offered more money and more years, Shams Charania had reported The Athletic. And the Golden State Warriors, took less money, come play for the Lakers because he thought he could play a bigger role for the Lakers. So those are the 4 guys so far that the Lakers have brought in. Those are the 4 guys so far that the Lakers have kind of figured out, at least from that perspective of saying to themselves, okay, to fill up the rest of this roster, there's a theme to all the players that the Lakers brought. All right, the theme is this. The theme is veterans. Lakers went out there and grabbed vet after vet, trying to make sure that they put themselves in a position that this roster is built with guys that are trying to win NBA championships. So that's really kind of what I take away from day one. You address some specific needs. There's obviously a lot of Laker fans out there that want to see Dwight Howard with the Lakers last season. They didn't get that. He went to Philadelphia. And now we're going to get the Los Angeles Lakers back, or they're going to get Dwight Howard back with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's going to fill in his void. He's a guy that I don't have to tell any Laker fan out there. It's all about winning championships for him. That's the only thing that he cares about, and that's obviously what he'll try to do with the Lakers. So Trevor Ariza is another player. I know he's kind of older in age, which I'm not arguing that at all. If you look at the Lakers roster right now, they got a lot of older players on this team. But Trevor Ariza, that could be a 3-and-D guy that gives you 20 minutes a game, and you're happy with that. Wayne Ellington, obviously a shooter, and Kent Bazemore, both of those guys, 32, 33 years old, somewhere around there. So I think those guys are actually there at the right age. You have to fill in your roster with veterans. That's what you're going to have to do. And I think it's the right thing to do. If you guys remember, if you listen to Lakers Talk at all, when I do it once a week, or Travis and I, when we're doing shows in the morning, if you listen to any of those shows, one of the things that you could really take away from those shows is I've talked about how go get top heavy with a player. Obviously, they did that with Russell Westbrook, a third star, and then go find veterans, guys that their number one goal is winning a championship. And I think the Lakers did that in day one of free agency. Guys have something to prove. I'm not saying that every move is going to be perfect, because it's not, but I think once you got Russell Westbrook on your roster, you expected that the Lakers go out and try to go sign veterans, and that's exactly what the Lakers have done. And trust me when I tell you, I'm hitting refresh 39 times every couple of minutes because, I'm curious. As we were kind of prepping for this thing, a lot of other things have gone down. Spencer Dinwiddie, you take him off the board. He's with the Washington Wizards. Otto Porter Jr. signed for the minimum with the Golden State Warriors. So still a lot of moving pieces, but I did think just initially for the Lakers going out and getting the guys that they got, I can see how those all could be good fits with the Lakers. And there's no guarantees that they're all going to be great fits, but I think they're going to serve their role. And each one of these guys, I think, will have, a purpose for the Lakers. I'm a fan. I like the Ellington and Bazemore. I think those guys can give you pretty good, significant minutes. And then I think Dwight and Trevor Ariza will be used kind of more sparingly, partly because of their age and how far they are in their career. But I think that Ellington and Bazemore can be used more for the Lake Show. Okay, let me read off some of the Lakers, some of your guys' comments here, and we'll go from there. Are we too old, Allen? David Sabatini. No, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. I think the main thing for me right now, for the Lakers, is having vets and guys that have played a number of games in the playoffs and have gone through championship runs. I take that all day over youth right now. So I don't think the Lakers are too old. I think, here's the main thing. Anthony Davis is young enough. Russell Westbrook is still young, 33 years old. You got a lot of guys that I think you have that are not. Yes, you have a Dwight Howard is 36. LeBron's going into his 19th year. Trevor Ariza. But you got two of your main pieces I think are at the right age. And obviously Anthony Davis just walking into his prime. So I'm not too concerned with that. I'm more concerned with how the Lakers fill up the rest of the roster. Wayne Sargent on YouTube. Sliwa, look at the live chat. Can I have a second? I am looking at the live chat. All right. No, you're right. I actually ignored the live chat for a little bit there. Let me read off a couple more of these. I'm going to get into who the Lakers lost in a second, but I don't want to do that just yet. I want to read off some of these comments here first. Let me get through some of these comments, and then I'm going to I'm going to eventually get into some of this other stuff. Laker Wisdom, glad Dwight is back. Should have never left. Can I say something that out of all the players that the Lakers lost last season, Danny Green, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Avery Bradley, and who am I missing here? I'll figure out who the other one was in a second. Out of all the players, and Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard's name was brought up the absolute most. He was definitely brought up the most. So I think, to kind of answer your question on that front, a lot of Laker fans are probably glad to see Dwight back, and we're incredibly disappointed when he left last season to Philadelphia. So let's keep that one in mind. Let's keep going here. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'll talk Dennis Schroeder in a little bit. Give me a second on that one. I'll talk some of these other players in a second. Give me a second on that one. Let me get one more in here. One more in here on who the Lakers brought in, and then we're gonna move on. A lot of people basically saying that they're glad Dwight Howard is back, and then there's a lot of other people saying that the Lakers are way too old. And you guys can make that case. I think that's okay to make that case. Okay, I want to kind of continue moving here. I want to kind of go from topic to topic. So that's who the Lakers lost. Right? That's who the Lakers added to this Lakers roster. Now I want to spend a quick little second on some of the players that the Lakers, obviously lost. So I'm going to be very frank with this one. I'm going to be very blunt on this one. Alex Caruso not being a part of the Los Angeles Lakers, that's a tough one for me. There's obviously a few other players as well, and I'll get into some of those players in a second. But no Alex Caruso for the Los Angeles Lakers, that's a tough one to swallow, because I know for me, ultimately, one of the most important things is keeping the right guys on this roster, right? Keeping certain players that, you're hoping for can be on this Lakers team that you think are obviously a big part of helping you win an NBA championship. So I say that, and I'm obviously a big fan of Alex Caruso. Hated to see Alex Caruso go. Go make your money, $37 million. You're happy for that, but what you're kind of saying is, why did he pay him that money? Alex Caruso is a tough, gritty player. He's won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you still feel like he could be a big piece to a championship run, right? Key role player, a guy that wants to sacrifice, wants to do whatever it is for this Lakers team. So that's a tough one for me to swallow as a Laker fan, is that they lost Alex Caruso. Now, we want to wait and see how the rest of free agency plays out, whatever the Lakers end up doing. Maybe Rob Pelinka had to do something like this because another move that he has in mind. Whatever the case is, the Alex Caruso piece is going to be a tough one to swallow for, I think, a lot of Laker fans. And let me kind of lump in some of the players that the Lakers have lost. So who have they lost so far? Lakers lost KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and now Alex Caruso. Caruso is the tough one to swallow. At least with the other three players that you lost, and the only one that I would really make an argument for that I'd like to have stayed with the Lakers is KCP. But at least those three players that you lost, you went out, you got Russell Westbrook, so there was a reason for it. The Caruso part, you didn't get anything for him. So that one's a tough one to swallow for me. All right, let me read some of these Laker comments on the Caruso front. People already saying, I miss my guy. Losing Caruso this year is like losing Dwight last year. Desmond Hooks. I think that's a good argument to make. Freddie, is Caruso a Laker legend already? I got you. I know what you're talking about. I understand what you're talking about. Let's see what some other Laker fans say. Ray Kague says Caruso was someone you had to keep. The effort and energy was unmatched. I'm a big proponent of, talent first. Go get the talent first. And the Lakers did that. I mean, I'm going to talk about Westbrook in a little bit here, but talent was the priority for the Lakers. They went and addressed that in the offseason. They're very top heavy. So that's where the Lakers are. And I'm completely in agreement of that. I wanted to see Caruso stay with the Lakers. I put up this tweet earlier today, and maybe you guys got a chance to see it, but I want to actually show you the percentage because it's pretty ridiculous. I put out a tweet that said, if you had to prioritize between the two, more important piece for the Lake Show, Alex Caruso or Talen Horton-Tucker? Because, there was going to be a chance where you were only going to get one or the other. So that was my thought process. Look how close this was. This is just under 4,000 votes, like 3,800 votes. So it's a good sample size. 51.8% Talen Horton-Tucker, 48.2% Alex Caruso. A lot of Laker fans were split on this. If, you held a gun to my head and you said, Allen, you got to pick one of those two players that you're going to have. it's very difficult. I went back and forth on this. My knee-jerk reaction is I'd rather have Caruso because he'll help you more in a shorter window. But no question about it, Talen Horton-Tucker has a much bigger picture, more opportunity. His potential is a lot higher than Alex Caruso. But what Caruso is today and will continue to be, instantly you could plug him in at any time, and he's helping you win today. So that's kind of the difference between those two players, where there's more upside to THT, much more upside. You could say much more upside to THT. You're probably going to need a few years for that upside to evolve and be there, where Caruso's helping you tomorrow and you're plugging him right in, and he's obviously a big piece for the Lake Show. All right, let me read off a couple more of these. C's G's on YouTube. I'm already over Caruso. Man, savage. Can we get 24 hours for you to be over him? I was doing Lakers talk, and they were Funches was doing the music, and he started playing that "I Will Remember You." I'm like, what is this? Are we at a funeral here? Guy just signed 4 years, $37 million. Everything's going to be fine. Okay. 49ers, Lakers for life. I'm going to miss him also, but glad he got the money he deserves. That part I don't think is – everybody is proud of him to go get the money, but I think most people are talking about more than anything else. I think it has more to do with could the Lakers have given him that money. Okay. The other guys that the Lakers missed, by the way, or that are gone, Kyle Kuzma. I've said this a number of times. I was ready for Kuzma to go, and I thought Kuzma, it was good for his career to go as well. Go get your 20 shots a game, 35 minutes a game in Washington. Go try to, be a piece to another team. And you're probably not going to win many games, but if you feel like you can be an all-star player, you're at the right age, you already got a championship under your belt, it's good for you. Montrezl, Lakers didn't even use in the playoffs, so really, did you really lose that much from Montrezl Harrell? That guy's obviously going to be chasing a contract. I hope he has a good season and makes his money. So we'll call it a day with everybody else. I already mentioned the KCP part. I'm a fan of KCP. I would have liked to have kept KCP, but you got to give up something to go get something, and the Lakers obviously got Russell Westbrook. Okay. Let me read off a couple more comments here. Actually, forget reading off the comments. It's been a long time since I've done roll call. I want to do roll call right now. So, Laker fans, on this 10/17 Monday night of Lakers Talk Special Edition Free Agency, where are you tuning in from? Happy to give you a shout out. The city, the state, the country, whatever the case is. Obviously, we appreciate everybody being a part of the show, whether you're doing it on Twitch, on Twitter, on Periscope, on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever it is that you're tuning in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay. I think I got traded on the chat. I think people are trading me to try to get Dennis Schroeder off the team. Like, if you add me to a sign and trade with Dennis Schroeder, I'm just telling you, I'm not adding any value to the trade. So I think you're better just waiving me. Just waive me. Okay, let's give a shout out to a few of the people tuning in here. Orlando, Florida in the house. Thank you for being a part of the show. Rochester, New York. Washington, D.C. Redondo, Riverside, California. Connecticut. Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Palo Alto, California. Malaysia. India. Glacial Park. Downtown L.A. San Pedro, California. Portugal in the house. Thank you for being a part of the show. Toronto, Torrance, Santa Barbara. Big Bear, California. Andy Gonzalez and Big Bear. I'd love to join you. I'd love to join you out there. Las Vegas. Somebody apparently is at the 710 ESPN studios. Kind of weird, but Beaumont, Texas in the house. Forest, Mississippi. East Hollywood. If you've never been a part of Lakers Talk when we do the streaming, maybe it's the first time you've ever done it, just giving some shout outs to all Laker fans that are tuned in from all over the country, all over the world. Bay Area, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Tennessee. Philippines, San Clemente, Camp Pendleton, California. Orange County, Milwaukee, Rochester, Bosnia, Diamond Bar. I can't read all these Laker fans. We're going to be here till 4 a.m. Mexico in the house. Thank you for tuning in. If I didn't get you, keep coming back with me. I'll try to add you to the mix here. All right. San Bernardino. France in the house. How cool is that? Love everybody everywhere. Temple City. Plummerville, Arkansas. All right. We'll read more of these as we go. Let me get into the next topic here. So we've gone through who the Lakers got. We've gone through who's gone out of the Lakers, who's left. Let's look at some Laker needs, okay? So let me do this as I go on Twitter and I continue to refresh. I got the man, the myth, the legend, Carlo Saisu in the house as well. Carlo will tell me if anything goes down while we're doing the show. And, you know, I would also appreciate those who are on the live chat would also break news for me while I'm doing this. Irvine, Raleigh, North Carolina, San Diego in the house. Appreciate you guys all being a part of the show. So what are the Lakers' needs from here? Let me throw out some names to Laker fans because there are some guys that are obviously off the table, but then there are a lot of names that you have some curiosity on. I don't know what's going to happen to DeMar DeRozan. I do remember a week ago or so, he was on with Shannon Sharp, the Shay Shay podcast, and he did say that, you know, kind of reference the Lakers. He'd take less money. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. Why not? Because the dude made $27.7 million or whatever it is last year with San Antonio. Yes, he's made a lot of money, but he's a good enough player that he can demand money. I mean, it's one thing to go from $27 million down to $5 or $6 million or whatever the case is. So that one's kind of harder to gauge. Now, I will say there's one thing, in my opinion, that's interesting. The market is starting to dry up. Money is starting to dry up. Before free agency started, there was conversations about Dennis Schroeder maybe going to Chicago. They got Lonzo. Maybe going to New York. But they went and re-signed Derrick Rose and Nerlens Noel. They pretty much re-signed a lot of their own players over there, and they're out of money, or, you know, for a significant part of money is gone. So that's actually good news for the Lakers, because what seemed like was, why would Dennis Schroeder come help the Lakers if he doesn't have to, and he could just go sign with any team outright? Now he might need the Lakers to facilitate some type of sign and trade so that he can go get the money he's looking for and the Lakers can get some assets back. I'm not saying that's going to lead to DeMar DeRozan, by no means, because I don't think the San Antonio Spurs are going to try to help the Los Angeles Lakers. So with all that being said, the DeMar DeRozan piece, probably not going to happen with the Lakers, but he's still on the market. And we haven't heard anything more on, you know, DeMar DeRozan. So let's kind of see what happens here. And DeMar DeRozan, probably the best piece left of what's available. Spencer Dinwiddie is gone. He went to the Washington Wizards. I think he signed for 3 years, 60. Here are some other names I'm going to throw out there. Danny Green. Okay, let's keep going here. Rudy Gay is another name that's still out there. Carmelo Anthony is another name that's still out there. JJ Redick, Patty Mills is still out there. And by the way, for a couple of these names, Mark Stein had reported that the Knicks and the Lakers, there was some interest, both those teams, in Carmelo. Mark Stein had also reported that the Brooklyn Nets, the Golden State Warriors, and the Los Angeles Lakers had some interest in Patty Mills. So the Lakers are going to be fighting off some other teams that are also trying to win an NBA championship, that also think that they're right there, that, you know, can offer what the Lakers are offering, which is a team ready to win right now. So those are a couple names I've thrown out there. Otto Porter Jr. was one name, but he reportedly agreed to the Golden State Warriors at the minimum. So those are some names that I'm throwing out to Laker fans. And if you want to kind of chime in here, what names you think make sense, what names you think would be a good fit for the Lakers, throw them in the chat and I'll read some of these. Okay, let's read off some of these. Leonard Stevens, Patty No Mayonnaise Mills. No idea what that means. But I will just say that I'm a huge Patty Mills fan, as most Laker fans would be. It would be an unbelievable fit for the Lakers. You know, for a team that didn't have shooters, to then grab Patty Mills, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, that would obviously fulfill some of those needs. Trevor Ariza can sit on the outside, play a little 3-and-D. Silver Lake, thank you for being a part of the show. North Hollywood, appreciate you being a part of the show. Van Nuys. People are still putting Buddy Hield on this list. Only reason why I'm not putting Buddy Hield is you need help from another team. You got to make a trade. So I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm just gonna look at free agents that are unrestricted. Ryan Anthony Fair on Facebook puts Rudy Gay, Melo, Patty Mills. So he's listing off a couple people there. Let's see who else we got here. Leonard Stevens likes the Dwight Howard signing. I cannot keep up with all these comments. Appreciate you guys putting all these comments here. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody else says no to Danny Green. Nisi Brown on Facebook. That's an interesting one. I was actually curious if Laker fans wanted to see Danny Green back. Obviously, Dwight Howard is coming back to the Lakers for his third stint with the Lake Show. Danny Green, incredibly inconsistent with the Lakers, but, here's the reality. If you did end up with Danny Green and you got another shooter, another veteran, a good locker room guy, a good defender, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I'm with you that I would prefer other pieces before Danny Green. JJ Redick on here, Tyler Phobie on Periscope. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Schuler Richards, Lakers in 5. The playoffs are over, man. There's no Lakers in 5 at this point. All right, Daniel Perrick on Facebook, get Melo and a stretch 5. Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo's a little further on my list. Patty Mills, I think, would be great. What are some of the other names? Rudy Gay, I think I might be on a short list. I would love to see Rudy Gay with the Lakers. Some of those other players fall a little bit further down the list for me. Now, do I think Carmelo will shine with LeBron and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook? Yeah, I do. I mean, the guy's just going to have to sit there and shoot. But I like a Rudy Gay, I think, actually can play defense, can play the 4 for the Lakers, and leave LeBron at the 3. So I think there's some advantages there. That's what I would personally prefer. Okay, read off a couple more of these, and then we got to go on to the next topic here. Beast mode. Who's under 30? Lakers need some youth. I'm not fully on board with people saying that the Lakers need youth. I think vets are okay right now. Everything, you're all in on this NBA championship. It's okay to get vets. I'd rather be top heavy like the Lakers are and a ton of veterans than not having enough superstars and really just kind of dispersing it with just average players. Okay. Somebody wants Eldon Campbell. It's not a bad pickup. I'm with you on that one. That's Patty Badola. George Hill may be a good pickup since he just got waived. That's Sorion Torikan on Facebook. Okay. You guys can keep putting who you prefer with the Lakers to fill up the rest of the roster. Let's keep this thing moving. Russell Westbrook. Laker fans, the reason why I'm talking about Russell Westbrook is I have got a lot of kind of commentary from the guy I do the show with, Travis Rogers. I do the show in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. By the way, for those who don't know, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Travis Rogers and I do a show in the morning. So if you can, make sure to tune into that. You could also, on the podcast, it's available right after the show is over. Just search Travis and Sliwa. Travis is, just a great example. Travis, not a fan of the Russell Westbrook trade. Let me give you guys my opinion real quick on the Russell Westbrook trade. The concept of going out to go get another star, I thought was the right move for the Lakers, and then go get veterans, and that's what they're doing. And that's kind of what I've been harping on here for the last couple of weeks, or at least since the Lakers lost in the NBA Finals. They had to go get another star. If you want to go hang with the Brooklyn Nets, I'm sorry, you got to have another All-Star, and that's the reality. I genuinely believe they had to go out and get another All-Star. Okay. So the Russell Westbrook piece, the fit, let's just say. I am a fan of his game. I am a fan of what he brings to the table. Is he perfect? No. Do you wish he was a better jump shooter? Of course you did. You wish he was more of a threat from the outside? Of course you would. But people are so quick to talk about what the guy can't do, and they fail to talk about what the guy can do. Let me say this before I even talk about what he's going to bring to the table for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook is at the perfect age. He's failed enough with other players and other teams where the most important thing for him is an NBA championship. Russell Westbrook's going to be the third best player on this Los Angeles Lakers team, where LeBron will eat, Anthony Davis will eat, and then Russell Westbrook will, obviously get his opportunities. LeBron James going into his 19th season in the NBA. You got another player now that can facilitate, can bring the ball up the floor, can push the break, and is incredibly hungry to bring a championship to the Los Angeles Lakers. All those facets, I think, are incredibly important as he's the third best player on this Lakers franchise. Okay. Put all that to the side. The dude has averaged a triple-double 3 of the last 4 years. He'll pass 15, 16 assists a game. It doesn't matter. Whatever I need to do. He'll get an opportunity to go out and grab you 10, 12, 14 boards a game, whatever you need him to do. He's never played with talent or a big man like Anthony Davis and a guy like LeBron James. KD he has, and KD is one of the greatest players of all time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not forgetting about KD. But the fact that he gets to play with a guy like LeBron James and the way he plays, high IQ, champion, leader, all that stuff. A guy like Anthony Davis that you could throw the ball to, you could actually bring the ball up if you're Russell Westbrook and start kind of the offense for the Lakers, and you got options of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is perfect, but what I'm telling you is the guy's at the right age. He wants to win. He wants to win for the Los Angeles Lakers. He mentioned in a conversation, a story that Brad Turner wrote of the LA Times, that he's willing to do whatever it takes, and he gets the chance to play with LeBron and Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, Laker fans. I'm signing up for that all day long. I'll take my chances. For those who are not happy about the trade or not happy about the fit, I get it. You have your case. You can make your case. The NBA is all about talent. Lakers got 3 stars, 3 of them, 3 stars. And one of those stars has never won an NBA championship, and he's going to be as hungry as ever. I'll take my chances with Russell Westbrook, and that's my comments on that. Here's a great comment by, see if I can find it. Somebody's saying here, basically trust LeBron. Okay. If LeBron James and Anthony Davis are signing off on bringing Russell Westbrook to the Lakers, who the hell am I or anybody else to question that? Rob Pelinka is not doing a trade without the approval of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I know that, and everybody knows that, because if you listen to any of Rob Pelinka's interviews that he's done over the last 2 years, it's collaborative with his superstars. So if LeBron and AD feel like they can win with Russell Westbrook, then I'm all in. I'm all in for it as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. Leonard Stevens, Russ is back home. This is his only chance. He will play a role with the King. No question about it. I don't question that for one freaking second. By the way, what'd you give up to get him? Montrezl Harrell opted in probably to get traded and go get another opportunity somewhere else. Lakers didn't even use him in the playoffs. Kyle Kuzma, I'm not going to sit here and talk about Kyle Kuzma because Laker fans know that we kind of had a perception of what he could be. He wasn't that person. Let this guy move on and go try to do it somewhere else. KCP is the one that I would say you have some value to, because he hit big shots. He had a nice playoff run for the Lakers. I thought he played a big role in that championship run, but you got to give up something, and he's replaceable. You can't just go find a Russell Westbrook anywhere. So you got to give up something. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. We getting Buddy Hield? No idea. Adnan Akram, Russ will bring energy. Last year we were flat. And he will, he's hungry. He's got a chip on his shoulder. You know what I find so fascinating? What if it's Lakers and the Nets in the NBA Finals? Lakers and the Nets, which will be the two favorites. Favorites come out Brooklyn, favorites come out Lakers. What if it's those two teams and you got Russell Westbrook going up against Kevin Durant for a championship? How good would that be, Laker fans? How good would that be, Laker fans? All right, let me read off a couple more of these comments here. And then we'll continue. Somebody's telling Travis to lighten up on Westbrook. I'll tell him tomorrow. He won't listen to me, by the way. Kevin P., people acting like our moves aren't better than what we lost. I will say this, just to use as an example, when the Brooklyn Nets got James Harden in that deal, the only conversation was how they're going to make it work. There's only one basketball. Get the stars. You'll figure it out after that. Trust me, get the stars. You'll figure it out. Guys, if they want to win bad enough, and I guarantee you Russell Westbrook does, he'll do whatever the hell you want to go get an NBA championship. All right. Dan Inspiration, I need Sliwa to wear a Caruso jersey. You remind me of Caruso, Sliwa. My man. Sad day today. Lost Alex Caruso. Okay. I think somebody's challenging me in Echo Park. Somebody wrote Woj bomb. I swear if it's not a Woj bomb and you lied to me, I'm going to hallucinate. We're in the middle of a live show. Let's see what we got here. Woj throw a bomb? No. Son of a. Unbelievable. The disrespect. Okay. Let me move on to the next topic real quick. Other free agency news. I'll make this one quick. There's obviously a number of players that signed today, and then still a couple players that haven't gone anywhere. So CBS actually has a good tracker on this, so we'll give them a little bit of love. So Chris Paul, 4-year, $120 million. Why did you just make it 8 years, $240 million? Chris Paul got 4 more years. I mean, I get what the Phoenix Suns are doing. They got to the NBA Finals, showing an incredible amount of love to Chris Paul. If you'd have told me Chris Paul signed a 3-year, $80 million deal, I would be like, unbelievable. What an incredible signing that he got. Dude got 4 years, $120 million. That's why he opted out of his contract. So Chris Paul. Kyle Lowry to Miami, 3 years, $90 million. Big Kyle Lowry fan. Miami made some nice moves. Where's that going to put them in the Eastern Conference? Probably put them where you got Brooklyn as a tier, and then you got Milwaukee, Philly, Miami there. Atlanta is a nice team. So obviously a good pickup. The Jazz bringing back Mike Conley. They don't have a choice. They have to do it. And they think obviously by bringing him back, they could continue to compete in the Western Conference. There's going to be tiers in the West as well. Lakers, everybody else. So that's obviously going to be let's see where DeMar lands and a couple of these other guys. My favorite move today, love Lonzo Ball to the Chicago Bulls. Just love it. I really want this guy to be on a team where they embrace him. He could play to his strengths. I'm excited to see Zach LaVine and him together. Not excited to see Alex Caruso there because I wanted Alex Caruso with the Lakers. But I'm a fan, definitely a fan of that move of Lonzo Ball. Okay, a couple other quick shout-outs here. Norman Powell, 5 years, $90 million with Portland. Duncan Robinson, 5 years, $90 million. Man, to have a jump shot. To have a jump shot, you could grab $90 million. Okay, a couple others. Tim Hardaway Jr. to Dallas. Gary Trent in Toronto. Derrick Rose. It goes down. Blake Griffin only signs a 1-year deal with Brooklyn. PJ Tucker, that was a little surprised to see him go to Miami. So a lot of pieces obviously still kind of being mixed around. Jeff Green was talked about with the Lakers, signed a 2-year deal to the Denver Nuggets for $10 million. So there's another name out there. So those were the other deals that went down. Kawhi is expected to come back to the Clippers. DeMar DeRozan, we'll wait and see. John Collins expected to go back to the Atlanta Hawks. We'll wait to see. So still some other missing pieces. The big one Laker fans to pay attention to, what happens to Dennis Schroeder? I have a lot of curiosity what happens to Dennis Schroeder and if all of a sudden Lakers are back in the mix for some type of sign and trade where they can get some assets back. So keep that one in mind. Okay, final one I got for Laker fans here. questions. You got some questions? Throw them at me right now, and then we're going to call it a night, Laker fans. Then we're going to call it a night. Let me read off a couple here. Joe Black, Washington did great too. Russ contract gone. Harold, Kuz, Spencer, KCP. He's talking about Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley are a great combo. Okay, let me comment on this. Two things can happen in a trade. I don't feel like the Lakers gave up much in that trade for Russell Westbrook, but I think it's also fair to say it's still a good move for the Washington Wizards, because it's not one guy, $44 million, and you barely make the playoffs. And that's what it was with Russell Westbrook. Now you have some assets that you can work with. Maybe you want to use Kuzma, and that's one of your guys that you want to kind of rebuild with. I thought the Spencer Dinwiddie is a good signing for them. So now they got 5 players that they have assets to. Maybe they trade Montrezl Harrell come trade deadline. So I agree with that Washington did a good job. But because this is not Wizards talk, we're going to move on from the Wizards. What else we got here? Somebody's asking where Sasha is. Still no update on Sasha, but I appreciate you asking. Who's our best 3-and-D guy? Daniel Saunders off Facebook. So Trevor Ariza is really kind of your 3-and-D. Bazemore is going to be too small. I don't know what they're going to do, what they go out there and try and get. I'd like to see LeBron play the 3. Maybe they go get a guy like Rudy Gay, but we'll have to see what happens. Patty Mills, Rudy Gay are 2 guys. If we get one of those 2 guys, I think that would be fantastic. If we got both, then I'm going to go live stream again, just starting in a minute or something if that comes out. Not literally. All right, a couple more here, and we're going to call it night. Lakers seem Chef Lev on YouTube. Lakers seem to prioritize offense over defense. How will Vogel adjust? It's an interesting question because I do think, from a defensive perspective, you lost KCP and you lost Alex Caruso. Bazemore can play some defense. Trevor Ariza is a 3-and-D guy. It's just you got to worry about his age 36. And Dwight Howard, a backup center, is going to be known to play defense. But they do need more defense. So I'm not going to question that. Okay, see what else we got. Russ can play defense too. He's going to put some pressure on some of these other guards. Okay. Do you think Carmelo will end up with the Lakers? So, all right, here's the thing. The Carmelo piece. He very well can because he's trying to win an NBA championship and his buddy LeBron James is here. So, yeah, that can easily happen. Or he can go to New York. But if he goes to New York, it's not about winning. It's about just, a tour. The best fit for him personally is probably the Lakers because it gives him a chance to win a championship. But I don't know if that's going to be the Lakers' priority. I think they'll know he's there if they want him. Okay. Rudy Gay or Carmelo? I'd rather go Rudy Gay. Final one here. Final one. Newt Rockney, why did we let AC go? Disappointing. It's a good question, but I would just say let free agency finish. Let's see how the pieces come together. Let's see what Rob Pelinka has up his sleeve. So far, you could say free agency started on Thursday when the Lakers made that trade before the draft. So far in the offseason, they've added Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, and Trevor Ariza. Got a lot of vets. Got another all-star player. So let's see how the Lakers kind of prioritize the rest of this offseason. And we'll have to just keep on, obviously, watching and looking at these updates. And we'll see how things, obviously shape up the rest of the way. Okay, Laker fans, we got almost 1,200 people live right now under all our platforms. Appreciate it. Thank you for everybody that's a part of the chat. Thank you that everybody, is obviously either you're streaming this live or you end up watching it later or whatever the case is. But we appreciate all you guys being a part of the show. I'm back on tomorrow morning starting at 8:55 with Travis Rogers. will probably be arguing about Russell Westbrook and the additions that the Lakers made. Trav will probably say he doesn't like it. I'll protect the Lakers and fight my angles. Here's the reality. If I don't like a move, I'm going to tell you guys I don't like the move. I don't mind the guys that they added. The Caruso part, I hated seeing them leave. I'll roll my, take my chances with Russell Westbrook. So that's what we got so far. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. If you want Lakers Talk, I did do a 2-hour show, ESPN app or on iTunes. Just search Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa. Back on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Thank you for being a part of the show.